Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be comparing the Subaru Forester to the Subaru Outback, and we're doing wilderness versus wilderness because let's be real here, it's the coolest package you can get on a Subaru. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Nate Wade Subaru here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with both of these cars. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.4 liter flat four cylinder that goes through a CVT. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 260 horsepower and then 277 pound-feet of torque. You can also get a naturally aspirated four cylinder with the Outback, but the Wilderness package only comes with the turbo. Now under the hood of the Forester is a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter flat four cylinder that goes through a CVT. Fuel economy is 25 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 182 horsepower and then 176 pound-feet of torque. This is the only powertrain available with the Forester. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the Outback Wilderness, yes, it's kind of unfair because I picked a cooler color on the Outback than the Forester. But anyways, you guys can see the decal there on the hood, and you got the gold accenting with the fog lights. Now, the biggest thing with the Outback is it's kind of more rounded with the styling, a little bit sleeker. Again, it's got that station wagon design. Whereas with the Forester, you guys can see it's a little bit more boxy, a little bit more upright with the design, and it's not as elongated as the Outback because they're going for more of an SUV look with the Forester versus the station wagon look with the Outback. Now around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 225, 65, 17 in the front and over in the rear with the Outback. And you guys can see here how the wheel is completely blacked out, and then you got big chunky fender flare, the Wilderness badge here on the side. And if we take a few steps back, you can see the overall length here. Notice the roof rail setup there with the Outback. Now with the Forester, our tire wheel setup is 225, 60, 17 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see, same thing with the wheels, how they're all blacked out, all-terrain tires. And then you got the chunky fender flares, the Wilderness badge there. And if we take a few steps back, notice again how it's not as elongated and has more of an SUV kind of crossover appearance. Now taking a look at the keys, you guys can see we've got our lock and unlock function with both them Subaru logos, of course, for the unlock function and the opening for the hatches. Now when it comes to cargo space with the Forester, it is quite spacious. So first off, you got the cargo cover here, and again, because it's got that SUV design, you've got quite a bit of vertical space. We have these tabs to pull down the seats, and you guys can see here for the Harman Kardon sound system. I like the Wilderness floor mats too with that. But yeah, spacious, and the hatch, by the way, with this Wilderness package is fully automatic. And then popping over to the Outback, I know it's going to look a lot more spacious because the seats are up, but if you draw a line right there, what you'll see is that yes, it is in fact more spacious than the Forester, but it's not like a massive difference with the cargo area. And then you can see we've got a cargo cover just like the Forester, and then when you're all done, again, just press that and that'll lower the hatch right back down. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rears of the vehicles, you guys can see with the taillight design here on the Forester, and then notice again with kind of like the darker coloration, I think that looks really sharp. And then with the Outback, again, more rounded off, more of that station wagon appearance, and that even goes with the taillights, how they're kind of squished compared to the Forester taillights, which are a little bit more open. But if we pop here, you can see the Outback again, it is longer than the Forester, right? But it's not like, I don't know, it's bigger, but it's not that much bigger, if that makes sense. Now inside of the Forester, we've got great legroom here, got a little double storage pocket situation. You can see the vents, USBs, all that. And then I love the trim here on the door panel. I think it looks really sharp. And that theme continues on in the seats. They're supposed to be easy to clean. That's the theme of these seats. And then headroom back here, it's pretty good. Now in the Outback, it surprisingly doesn't really feel more spacious than the Forester. It feels pretty similar. Got storage pockets, heated seats, some USBs, and you can see the theme on the door panel, very similar to the Forester because again, they both have the Wilderness package. And then that theme continues onto these seats as well. And then headroom back here, it's good. Now at the front of the Forester, you guys can see the Wilderness style steering wheel with the gold accenting. Tons of practical controls, including our adaptive cruise control steering assist. Got our little drive mode select right there as well. And by the way, the front door panel still has those same cool materials. And notice front 2 windows are automatic. And we have a bunch of features here on the side. So, you know, for example, with the hatch, your stability control, auto stop, start, blind spot monitoring, all of that. And then again, more of that nice trim on the dash. Gauge cluster is mostly analog. I do have a little screen there in the center. And then you still have the screen here up top to display more information. And then we have an infotainment system. So we got 3 screens here on the Forester. Got a traditional backup camera here. And then if we press the camera button down below, it'll pop up with a front camera on that screen right there. Kind of interesting how it's split. But in terms of the infotainment system, it's not Subaru's newest unit, and it does struggle with the plastic covering on the outside, I will say that. So take off the plastic covering. But you know, it works pretty dang well. And then you got your dual zone climate controls. I see storage down there, some USBs, and then shifter here for the CVT. And you got your parking brake here with your auto hold, and then you've got your X modes, which is your off-road modes. That's that camera view button. Heated seats, got some cup holders. Center console, nice trim here on the top, and then same thing with the dash that goes across, and yeah, pretty big glove box. And then we do have a sunroof. It's big in the Forester. It's like goes all the way back. And I noticed very similar theme with the steering wheel, and you got the heat steering wheel button on the steering wheel itself. But notice no drive mode select, which is interesting. But you still have like your adaptive cruise control, steering assist, paddle shifters there on the back, which is pretty cool. And then again, you can see the wilderness theme here on the door panel. Notice all the windows are automatic with the Outback, and then we don't have like a ton of controls there, so they've kind of freed that up a little bit. And then again, similar theme with the gauge cluster, mostly analog there. And then we've got the camera system, so you got the backup camera right there, which is nice. And I like how the X mode select pops up there with the camera. But as for the rest of the infotainment system, it responds quickly. And I guess that this one works a little bit better with the plastic covering over it compared to the Forester. And notice a lot of controls are built into the screen itself, so you don't get physical buttons like with the Forester. Some of you might like that, some of you might not like that. And then same thing with the dash, nice trim across, and especially there as well. And then you can see with the wireless phone charging pad, USBs, all of that, and then shifter here for the CVT. And yeah, oh, it's got like a double center console. The Outback, nice padding on top, and then you got storage above the glove box and then in the glove box as well. And then this just has a regular sunroof. Now this is a 2024 Forester Wilderness, total MSRP $39,829. 2024 Outback Wilderness, total MSRP $44,205. And with that being said, let's see how they drive. So let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, do a blind spot monitoring for the rest of the rear. And, well, let us set off in the Forester first. Let's try not to clip the Outback. Okay. This is an interesting comparison. Hopefully this helps out. The reason I did Wilderness versus Wilderness is because I just, you know, from every single time I go on the Subaru lot, from personal experience, like whenever I ask people what they're looking at, they're almost always looking at the Wilderness packages. Now, not everyone ends up buying it because, you know, maybe they want something that's a little bit less expensive, or maybe they want some options that you can't get in the Wilderness package. So that does happen sometimes, but most of the time, yeah, people always like Wilderness. So that's why I figured it would be the two packages to compare. Good torque. Again, for, you know, being a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, pretty good torque. Also, that Land Cruiser, whoever's that is, that looks so good. Wow. Anyways, let us see kind of how the handling is here. Not too bad, not too bad. Suspension's comfortable. The thing I love about the Wilderness is you get a little bit more ground clearance, but I feel like it makes the, because there's a little bit more travel, it just makes the damping a bit better. So I think that's a big plus. And get our acceleration here. I wouldn't call it insanely quick or anything like that, but it gets up and moves. It gets up and moves. Seats are also really comfortable. So, to cap things off with a quick drive in the Forester, I think it's, for the segment, it's got, you know, decent power, and it's comfortable, it handles well, and it's easy to drive, and a big part of that is just the size, right? It's a reasonable size to manage, so I think that kind of helps out with the overall driving experience. And so with that being said, let's pop over into the Outback with the turbo and see how things go. Well, let's talk about visibility here in the Outback. Visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, both the rest of the rear. Definitely feels bigger right off the bat, like just getting in it. And I think part of that's just the elongated appearance. And it does affect the windows as well. But seats are just as comfortable in both of them, so I don't think that that's really going to be a thing, one car over the other, or a determining factor, I should say. Interesting thing is the suspension feels pretty dang similar as well so far. We should get up and move and see kind of. Engine feels way different, I can tell you that right now. Way different. But yeah, I mean, this is probably a little bit more comfortable, I would say. I do think that it's just a little bit longer, and I do think that does benefit it. But it does feel, it feels bigger, like genuinely, like when you go around corners, it doesn't feel quite as lightweight around the corner as what you have with the Forester. It's very comfortable though. Interesting. Very interesting. So we'll see kind of how the turbocharged engine performs here. Yeah, it definitely has a bit more grunt with that turbocharged engine. It's also a bigger car though, so the acceleration difference, there is a difference. Like, there's no doubt there is a difference. But it's closer than you might think. So, to cap things off with this comparison, the Outback, like I said, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more space. So, if you need more storage space, Outback. But outside of that, here's kind of my my big open onion, as I say. So if you're gonna go, if you want a turbocharged engine, you can't get a Turbo Forester, so that leaves you with the Outback. But with that thought strand, if you're gonna go naturally aspirated, because, you know, some people would say that there's, you know, they can trust it more because, you know, turbos, they do put more stress on an engine. So if you're gonna go naturally aspirated, Forester is the route to go. Obviously, if you need the space, you gotta go Outback, but I'd kind of look at it that way. If you want to go turbo, got to do Outback. If you want to go naturally aspirated, Forester is the route to go. Even though they offer a naturally aspirated Outback, I just think that this is the engine the Outback needs, is this turbo engine with the size of vehicle it is. But anyways, let me know which one you want, and in the comment section below, let me know which comparisons you guys want me to do with Subaru vehicles, like Subaru versus Subaru, and then I can also put together Subaru versus other manufacturers. So let me know if there's anything there that you guys would like to see. I'm trying to think. There's a Nissan dealer pretty close by here that I could do Subaru versus Nissan, for example. So that's yeah, that's just one of them. Camera system's great. That's all.